Are we on?
We're on, apparently.
God. We're back.
We're back side by side. Oh my God. This is going to be quite hilarious. Hi guys.
Very disappointing.
Very well.
We'll be out of practice.
We are out of practice. We'll just have to see where the wind blows us.
Oh, very good.
Nice. Anyway, welcome guys. Welcome back. And welcome to Luke. He is in the house.
Welcome to me.
Welcome to him.
Welcome to me.
He's come up and visited me because we haven't seen each other for a very, very long time. And we thought that, well, you know, why not? He's doing some lad chats. So why not we do a lab chat?
So basically you're copying me.
Obs. But we were the original podcast,
we were.
So we thought we'd actually bring it back and have some side-by-sides. We're going to be bringing these podcasts back on a weekly to bi-weekly basis, depending on
monthly.
Depending on when he can fit me in between the lad chats. Anyway, look, he's not even representing the brand. Rude. Pure rudeness.
My t-shirt's too small.
This is what we're going to say.
Yes.
My t-shirt is small, but it just makes me look even more jacked. Look at
That's
that!
very impressive.
It is, right?
Actually, angling me massively.
Right.
Considering you're about 80 kilos lighter.
Indeed.
Very
Indeed. 81. Because you put on timber.
Yes. Muscle timber.
Right, moving into the Pinky and the Brain chat today. We're going to call it the Pinky and the Brain chat, the Pinky and the Brain chat, but mostly because I don't want you guys thinking which one is the Pinky and which one is the Brain. We swap between the two very, very easily. So one day he's Pinky and I'm Brain, and then
and 1 month you're Brain and I'm Pinky.
Yeah. Brilliant. So anyway, rundown. What have you been up to? Let's do that first of all.
What have you up to? I've been missing you, Vicky.
Obs.
That's what I've been doing. Quite a lot. It's had time since August.
It has
That's
been
the
sad
last time we actually met each other in person.
Was it really?
The plane pool, yeah.
That is very sad.
It is.
So we pulled a plane.
We did. Raised lots of money.
We
actually,
did. For a very good cause.
Very, very pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we basically just couldn't be bothered to chat for quite a while in person. We still kept in contact via the internet.
We did.
It's just not the same, is it?
We did. The magic of technology.
Yeah.
But
yes, I've been doing all right.
You've been doing all right?
You've been doing all right?
I've been doing fine.
Good.
That was a quick catch up then.
It was. Anyway, they don't want to know what we've been up to. They want to have some knowledge bombs from us.
Have some knowledge bombs.
Yeah.
Okay then, so let's create some knowledge bombs.
Let's do this.
It is the 4th of January, so let us have a little bit of a dabble into what's been happening post-Christmas, post-New Year. What kind of advice can you give then to lifters just coming out the back of Christmas? Let's just do training advice.
If you've put on weight.
That's my advice. That's my niche. For people who don't realise...
I'm just talking from experience right now, to be honest.
Yeah, because he has put on weight.
Contact Vicky.
Yeah. For people who don't realise, Luke does all of the programming. He does lots and lots of training, especially for elite level powerlifters, as well as people who want to just get into the powerlifting scene.
Yeah, anybody who are interested in strength training, really.
Indeed, yeah. So just your strength and conditioning to get jacked. I take care of all the nutrition bit because he was going to take part of it as well, and I was going to teach him, but then he couldn't be bothered.
You can stick to your lane.
Yeah, stick to your lane.
Stick to your lane.
To be fair, that's actually quite a good subject to get into about sticking to your lane, realistically. Yeah. And this is the reason why we work very, very well together and create these elite level powerlifters. And it's because of the simple fact that Luke has got the most optimal knowledge in terms of powerlifting programming. Whereas, especially in comparison to me, I'm good, but he's the expert. So that's the reason why he does all of the training aspects and I take care of all of the nutritional aspects. But anyway, moving swiftly on from that.
And
so
also very, very almost borderline OCD when it comes to form.
Oh my God.
It's just, it's almost painful.
It's like the Matrix though.
I literally see you lift in 0 and 1s.
Yeah. All coming down like this in sheets and curtains and stuff, right? But anyway, moving back on from Christmas. So Christmas training. Do you think that we should just go in balls to the wall, especially if you've had like 2 weeks off?
No.
No?
No. Well, it really depends, to be honest. If you're unlike me and you're fit, you're young, you're healthy, you could probably get away with it a little bit more and just crack on without too much effect. But I think you have to take on board the fact that if you've, let's be honest, deconditioned yourself a little bit over the last week or two, it's not going to be detriment to you if you just maybe have a couple of sessions back where you're just getting back into the groove, just feeling the weight again, doing something a little bit different as well, just to maybe take the pressure off you doing the weights and the movements that you were beforehand. Like, for example, I'm not an Olympic lifter by any stretch of imagination, but I quite enjoy doing power cleans now and again, just to get my body moving again and just shifting some weight without the onus of trying to beat records.
That'd be hard for you though, because you're massive, as in like tall.
Yeah, but I really enjoy them.
Did you take D-bol when you were a dwarf?
Wow. What the official, if you're under 4'10", you're classed as a dwarf, aren't you?
Yes.
So I must have taken D-bol when I was about 4.
So I'll get into that subject on a way
That's
of a different podcast.
Strange question.
It is. It's a different one. So basically, when Luke was 4, he was a dwarf.
Yes.
And in order to get big and strong, he decided to take Dianabol.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why he is now
6'5".
exactly, and jacked and can still Olympic lift.
Let's just put that in context. Just snippet that, Luke's on D-bol.
Yeah. I'll put a link underneath.
Not on D-bol.
No.
This is just Christmas bloke.
All the water.
All the water.
All the water.
But no, seriously though, I mean, what do you think?
In terms of?
In terms of if you've just wound it down a little bit and for 2 weeks.
Okay, so the majority of people over the 2-week period of Christmas and New Year, first of all, right, I'm not actually going to classify Christmas and New Year as being 2 weeks, because it isn't. You know, Christmas Day is one day, right? You can count Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day as your official holiday days, as your Christmas days, and then you can have New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, right? So that's 5 days out of the entire month. Now, I know that people do like classing Christmas as an entire month fest of alcohol and mince pies, because, you know, let's face it, the shops are starting to sell Easter eggs now, and Easter isn't until the 20th of April this year, which is Scott's birthday, my husband's birthday.
Oh, very good.
Isn't that nice? But it's the only way how I can remember it this year, as in Easter, not his birthday.
True
I
love.
always remember that.
True love.
True love. So obviously, like mince pies and shit like that, that comes out immediately after Halloween. So it's almost like the social aspect of Christmas starts the 1st of November. So people just kind of go, oh, yeah, right, well, you know, it's Christmas. And then they get into holiday mode. You had that, holiday mode? You know, I'm going to cancel my PT sessions because...
Yeah, that's why December was pretty...
dire.
Boring.
Boring. Hi, Kim. Private joke. Anyway, but yeah, in terms of like getting back into the swing of things, especially after New Year's, first of all, don't weigh yourself. Okay, do not weigh yourself. It is the worst thing that you could possibly do, to weigh yourself immediately after Christmas Day, immediately after Boxing Day, and immediately after New Year's Day. Because guess what? The scales are going to lie to you, because you are going to have eaten all of the carbohydrates, all of the fat, had a few drinks, so you would have dehydrated a little bit from your alcohol and then super compensated.
How do you know this? This is why I purposely didn't show anything on Instagram.
Yeah, people think that I don't know what they're doing because they don't tag me on Instagram, but what they fail to remember is that
guys.
Yeah, they still put things on Instagram.
Like a hawk.
Thought you were going to say something else then. Holy shit! I was like, right, Instagram ho. Not. Right, so in first instance, this has been far too long. This is the reason why we're talking at a million mile an hour, because we haven't seen each other in a very long time.
Yeah.
We've got lots to catch up on. You're going to think we're complete dicks. Yes, we are. So yeah, don't weigh yourself. Don't weigh yourself. The easiest thing that you can do is literally just get back on plan. If you're on a meal plan, just start getting back onto that meal plan. The weight will come down, the water will come off, everybody will be happy, the sun will still rise, the dog will still shit in the garden next day. If you are not on a meal plan and you are on macro counting, just get back on your macro counting. You know, it is as simple as that. The worst thing that you could possibly do is start restricting. The reason being is because you have had all of these beautiful hedonistic foods which are kind of like pinging off crack in your brain and thinking, right, I really want more. Luke said to me today after a post after we trained, he was like, right, what are we doing for grub? So I said, well, what have you had for the last 2 weeks after you've trained? Pie.
Chips.
Mince pie. So he said, have you got any mince pies? And actually, I do.
Apparently very good post-workout.
Very good post-workout. Very, very high impact carbs.
Yes.
You know, from your raisins and things like that. Little bit of fat, depending on which kind of one that you get. If you get the all butter pastry ones from Sainsbury's or Waitrose. Ooh, that is a good shop.
We are literally just going round and
Terrible.
all over the
Terrible.
place at the
Like
moment.
Billy Connolly.
This is a very good podcast so far.
Indeed.
People are literally going to be literally listening to this 10 minutes and going, what have I learned?
You've learned that we're brilliant.
We can talk a lot about nothing.
It's great, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's what I would basically do. The worst thing that you can do is restrict, because if you restrict, what's going to happen on the weekend? You're going to want to splurge. You're going to want to binge. And then all of a sudden you get into this patterning of binging and then restricting again and binging and restricting again. Not only is that not good for your physiology, but it ain't good for upstairs mental health either. So the easiest thing that I can say is just don't go into the new year as well, especially if you're brand new into the realms of training. Don't go balls to the wall thinking, right, I'm going to eat 110% clean. I'm going to train 6 days a week. I'm going to do this cardio every day, because it's unsustainable. You'll do it for 3 days, then you'll get pissed off. So start slow, just get back into the realms of tracking if you are an elite level athlete, if you've got competitions coming up and that kind of thing, then, and talk to people who know what they're doing, obviously. You know, if you have a nutritionist, talk to your nutritionist. If you've got a coach, talk to your coach. Get a plan in place that you can easily stick to go in, and don't go exactly just like your training aspect. Don't go balls to the walls, head deep. So yeah, that would be
What does that mean?
I don't know. It just means don't kind of like dive in to, you know, from 0 to 100 all in one go. One of my best sayings, because I came up with it, it's best. One of my favourite sayings is crawl before you can walk before you can run before you can sprint, and then sprint before you can hurdle. Somebody who wants, I know, right? I know.
That's profound.
I know. See, this is why you come to me, because I give you pearls. Pearls. But it's true. So many people want to be elite, right? You know, I was the same when I first started benching, yeah? It was like, you know, oh, my bench is okay. I can bench around 60. And he's like, fuck, that is like a massive bench. That's like a huge bench. So I'm like, oh, okay. That's all right. And then all of a sudden, I had these delusions of grandeur, and I was going to be like epic powerlifter #1, and I want to bench 70, and I want to do this. And then what did you say?
Let's go for it.
We did. No, we didn't. But the fact is that if we just kept on building on what I had already got, which was a 60 kilo bench, but technically it wasn't very good.
No.
I wasn't using leg drive. I was a flat back bench.
Well, this is where you assess what you are good at and what you need to work on. And sometimes, even though you're not necessarily going to go back to the gym in the new year, balls to the wall, head on, whatever you said, you can use that time though more efficiently and work on things like technique or your flexibility or your fitness. Get used to getting your steps in, etc. Which a lot of people probably neglect during a training cycle when it's you don't like the word bulk up or get stronger, bigger and stronger. They focus on that and then forget about actually if you keep the steps up and keep your fitness up, that's actually going to facilitate other training facets as well. So you maybe just go, okay, well, I'm going to come in and do some weights 2-3 times a week. I'm going to make sure I'm going to at least get a couple of cardio sessions in, even if it's a slow, steady state. At least you get into that habit of doing that. And then during those weight training sessions, I'm going to push it a little bit, but I'm really going to focus on my form, my technique, work on some rehab stuff, like for example, with your shoulder. The last month or so, you've taken a bit of a back seat and lifting heavy weights, even though today you pretty much smashed it, but it was really good.
Smashed my shoulder.
Well, no, but you didn't though, didn't you? Because you spent 4 or 5 weeks really rehabbing your shoulder to make sure when you come back to doing those heavy weights, your foundation, your base is a lot better to then work from for the future blocks and for future peaks, etc. So it doesn't always have to be, completely. Even if you're not coming back from the festive period or a holiday or whatever, it doesn't have to go straight back in. You do assess what you want to achieve and then create and build on those building blocks to get to that point in a lot better, less injury-prone fashion. And I think people tend to just focus on, I've got to go hard in the gym, I've got to lift lots of weights, I've got to go to failure, I've got to go on the treadmill until I nearly pass out. There's a time and a place for that, don't get me wrong. But
passing out on a treadmill, don't think there's a place for that.
Almost passing out.
Oh, okay, sorry, my apologies.
Hopefully I said the almost bit. But but you know what I mean. There's no point going in there and then doing like 2 minutes full on if you've not done any sort of kind of just sort of slow, steady cardio work or some intermediate interval intensity work. Got to build the faces, and with strength, with changing your body composition it's not going to happen overnight. It's almost like you want to. People think, oh, I'm going to get ripped in 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Well, say I'm going to get ripped in 6 months, 8 months. It's a long process. I mean, how long have you been training for?
Oh God, I'm old.
Not as old as me.
No, I know. Got this 5 years.
Scott.
Oh, he's actually in the office too. Over there.
But no, I started when I was 14 and I'm 39. That's 25 years. And hopefully I've got another 25, 35 at least years left until I'm probably just crawling
out of the gym.
I'm crawling into the gym. But it's a process. And when I first met you, what, 2-3 years ago now, a couple of years ago, I was like, no, by the time I'm 40, it must have been about 3 years ago, because I said, by the time I'm 40, I want to be this. And I gave myself a 3-year plan. When I came back from back injury, I gave myself a 3-year plan. And 3 years in the grand scheme of 40 years of training isn't that much.
No, not at all. So
it's just getting a bit more perspective on that as well, I think.
Yeah.
Just don't make January the month to go all guns blazing, because by the time you get to February, you're just going to be burnt out.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing I wanted to go on about, in fact, with January. This new thing that's going on with January, this veganism in January. Veganary, have you heard about that? All because of this great Netflix program called Game Changers. I'm not going to get into Game Changers because, quite honestly, it pissed me off. And I'm bored of hearing about it now. Do you know what I mean? If you want to be vegan, be vegan. If you don't. If you want to be a vegetarian or a flexitarian, do that. It's no issues. Nobody cares. Cool. But apparently going vegan will decrease or increase your life expectancy and decrease your death rate by like 17% or something. So even if you were to walk outside and get hit by a bus, you would have less chance of doing that if you were a vegan. Okay, so this is what it's all about. It kind of be mind-blowing. But veganary. Have you actually ever tried to go vegan for one day?
Me? Not purposely.
Right. Try it. You just try and figure out how you can go vegan for one day. I did it with a very, very good friend of mine called Jack Staniel last year. Okay. And I did vegan for... I did vegan for one day. Mate, I was starving. I ate a lot of food as well. You know me anyway, I eat a lot of food. True. And I still managed to hit my macros. I still got my calories in and that kind of thing. I went to bed starving. Because that's the thing about vegans as well. They can eat so much more food because the predominant source of all of their fuel sources are going to be things like pulses, especially because of protein aspects. So, but pulses, they don't hold the same, amount of caloric intake. I mean, because of the fiber content. So, you're going to be but you're going to be digesting them in a completely different way. And I was so hungry. But people who are like jumping onto this veganary bandwagon just to go vegan for January, but why? What's the point? Why are we doing it? To be healthier?
I don't know. You answer the question.
Apparently.
Why are we doing it?
I don't know. Okay. People who want to go vegan just for the month of January. I just want to do it for January. Yeah, but why? And they're like, oh, well, I don't know. I always think that you should have a reason to do something. It's like...
But do they think meat's bad then, do they? Is that why they're doing it?
Oh, meat is bad. Meat is full of hormones. Mm-hmm. Meat will destroy your gut lining. Mm-hmm. It will stay in your system for like 10 years. So you'll never digest beef. You'll moo. Don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against people being vegan, and if you want to be vegan for digestive purposes, because sometimes there are medical ailments for it, right? And if you want to be vegan for that, absolutely fine. If you want to be vegan out of cultural issues, great. If you want to do it out of moral issues, because you don't want to hurt animals or the way that they are being killed inhumanely, absolutely fine. Yeah, totally get it. But if you are answering that question by saying, I don't know, well, then why are you doing it?
I think that's a good point for everything that you're doing, to be honest. And training wise, why are you doing exercise? Why are you doing that many sets? Why are you doing that much frequency?
Full body every day. Why are you doing that?
I think if you have a reason, then whether someone agrees with it or not, at least if you've thought about it, then therefore you should have a reason for why you're doing it. Yeah,
for sure. And the thing is that it's like, if your diet is working for you and you are increasing your weights in the gym because of you're fueling your exercise better, you're not as sore because you're fueling your recovery at the same time, your body composition is good because you've got a good balance between all three macros and you're getting all of your micronutrients and your digestive system is working optimally, then why change it? It's that awesome saying of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And the same can transpire into training as well, can't it? So why would we change what is already working? What would be a reason to change it? Like, okay, so let's talk about my bench. Because it's easy to relate to because it's obviously immediate. I had a big issue with my shoulder, still have a big issue with my shoulder, and for the last kind of 4 to 5 weeks I've been taking a step back from heavy benching, or any kind of benching realistically. I was doing high frequency bench as well because I've got a weak tricep, so I was benching 3 times a week. My shoulder was taking a complete and utter hammering, so we took it a step back. Now what we're going to do is think about benching twice a week, because twice a week would be optimal at this stage.
Yeah, and I think at this stage is quite a crucial phrase, because we both agree that doing 3 days a week initially for you to get the right form, get the right line, catch up on the lack of bench specific competition pressing that you've been doing, you're going to have to try and increase it in a short amount of time to really get used to how, because at the end of the day, strength is a huge part of powerlifting, but so is technique, and we needed to make sure that that bench was spot on for you specifically, for you to then transfer the strength that you had into a better, more consistent form. Now you've got that form, and your body's at a position where it's telling us we don't want to be doing bench 3, maybe 4 times a week. We're going to try twice a week, and I think that's going to probably work quite well for you at this point in your training, when we'll see how it goes. But it's always training is never static; it's always fluid, and working with whether your training partner or a coach or someone online, etc. I think that's key to make you realise that things are never set in stone. But having said that, I think it's also key that you're working with someone that you trust and know to develop that relationship. We're going back on sort of the coaching side of things, where you can have that rapport with them to figure out, okay, something needs to be potentially changed a little bit, and I think that's where sometimes people go wrong. They try and change too much too quickly and take themselves off a different route, rather they just tweaked a few things. At least then they're going to give themselves a bit more of a chance to figure out what's actually working, what's not.
Yeah, for sure.
And the same with the diet, isn't it? Tell me if I'm speaking out of turn here, but if you get, but you would, unless it's completely obvious and that diet or that meal plan that they're following is complete rubbish. Once you set something up for someone, you don't then completely change everything. You then just start tweaking it to then fine tune it, basically, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the same with the training. You're constantly just trying to fine tune it, and things change. Your body changes. Your training environment changes. Mentality to your training changes. You might just become a parent or something. Your sleep changes. So it's always a constant state of flux.
Yeah.
But you still should have that base and that knowledge base to work from, and don't want to keep changing the base. Otherwise, you'll just never actually figure out what's working correctly or not.
Yeah, definitely. It's like program hopping, isn't it?
Yeah.
For all these people who want to get jacked, and then they just kind of go on the Dorian Yates program, and then the Dorian Yates program didn't work for them, so then they go on the high frequency every day let's squat until you die program, and then that doesn't work for them, so then 2 weeks later they go onto like a bro split, and then 2 weeks later they go onto a powerlifting split, and then so they keep on program hopping.
Yeah.
And then it's the same with dieting. They go on to the next fad diet. So that diet didn't work. I cut out all my carbs, but it didn't work. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out all my fats, and that didn't work.
I'm just going to not eat.
Yeah, I'm just going to not eat. Or I'll go vegan, because that's the key. That's the key to longevity. That's the key to youthfulness, and it's the key to make me lose 7 stone.
I sense sarcasm, Vicky.
Oh.
I sense sarcasm.
Me? I'm not sarcastic. A little bit. Sometimes. Maybe. Anyway, so in terms of that was a big conversation to how to get back into the swing of things after Christmas, right?
So we just summarise.
We can summarise.
Can we summarise?
Don't know.
This was meant to be a 10-minute video.
10 minutes.
What a surprise! We're nearing half hour.
We talk well. We do.
At least we find it interesting.
Yeah, we do. Probably just be talking to ourselves, People aren't going to tune into this. If you have tuned in, leave us a
I
little
applaud
comment.
you.
If you're still with us now, awesome. Just
Fair
leave
play.
a little comment.
Yes.
But yeah.
Make your video shorter.
Yeah. Don't talk so much bullshit. Bullshit with
Pinky.
Pinky in the brain. Aww. Obviously, I'm Pinky today.
Yes.
Yeah, so summary then. Post-Christmas.
Post-Christmas.
Don't weigh in, and if you do, don't listen to what the scales are saying.
Yeah.
It'll come
Ignore
down.
it.
Ignore it. Just get back onto your nutritional plan.
Yeah.
Post-Christmas, deconditions.
Yeah, ramp yourself back up slowly but surely. And then try and ramp yourself back up to a point where you feel comfortable working on the plan that you were doing before Christmas. And then once that starts hopefully working again, you start getting some gains. When you then plateau on that plan,
Take D-ball.
when you're 4'4". No, but then start assessing where to go next.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good summary.
I think that's a good summary.
Don't weigh yourself and then just train slowly.
Basically, don't be an arsehole after Christmas.
Yeah.
Don't be a bro.
Crawl, walk, jog, sprint, hurdle.
Oh, 5 points. The 5 points to longevity. All there. Love you lots, guys.
Cheers for now.
We will speak to you in a week.
Next year.
Oosh.
Yes.
Look how much bigger I am. So much bigger.
So closer, that's why.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously.